as humans, we have this negativity bias, this thing that we all do. It's a higher hardwired survival mechanism where we tend to focus on the negative things for survival because, what if there's a saber-toothed tiger around the corner right now? That's just not good for our survival, right? So we have this negativity bias that helps us to survive really, and it's a very challenging programming to override. But what I want to share with you how I shifted this negativity bias and how I've continued to shift this negativity bias. Um, well, how I've done it in the past and how I continue to do it. That's what I was trying to say here. Because this week was an interesting week where it was just like the mood was like, and it's like that time of the month, right? So anyway, the mood was like meh this week. The motivation wasn't there, and I know better to not rely on motivation to do anything. But it was still one of these things where the distressing emotions and the negativity was very highly present. There was no major triggering event. I think there was a major triggering event, but it didn't really happen until midweek where it kind of felt like, oh. So, it's so easy to focus on the things that aren't working, right? It's so easy. It's much easier for our brains to focus on the constraints because our brains are also built to solve problems, right? So it's going to look at the negative things in an attempt to try to solve it. But depending on how skilled we are and intentional we are with paying attention to these things, then that is what affects that is what affects our ability to stay in that space or continue going down that downward spiral or choose something different. And of course, this is a practice, right? And what I've been really working on, especially the past year, is just allowing the feelings to come because they are messages, they are signs from our subconscious anyway. And so when you just allow yourself to feel those emotions, allow it to be there without judgment, without judging the emotions, without judging you for feeling your emotions, is the biggest thing. I mean, a few weeks ago, inside my yoga teacher training, this was talked about, which was very, very helpful because it was kind of like, and the topic was meditation, right? And what you actually do in meditation and how the thing is to not sure, you can acknowledge those things to happen but don't indulge, right? Acknowledge but don't indulge. Acknowledge the fact that the feelings are there, just allow it to pass because it all passes. Distressing or even pleasant emotions pass. They're not temporary. They're never ever temporary. So learning that skill is going to be very, very important with regards to shifting away from that negativity bias, because just because you acknowledge it doesn't mean you have to indulge it, because when you indulge it, that is when that thought pattern, or that thought pattern and that emotion become stronger, because what you place your attention on, you kind of get more of, right? So allowing yourself to practice that, and also just thinking about what has worked, in a place where you are maybe not feeling well, maybe feeling that nothing is working, where you're in that place, it's difficult to notice the wins. And what I have done well over the past, I don't know how long now, maybe at least 6 months, 6, 7, 8 months, I have my accountability partner, and every day we celebrate a win, even though both of us have gone through some very terrible days. We still allow ourselves to acknowledge a win from that day, and that to then reprograms our mind to start looking at differently. And so although this week for me, the things that I wanted to get done didn't get done, there were a lot of things that I did that were not aligned with where I wanted to go, and some were regressive type things. Did some sabotage things this week. Yes, I'm human. I admit it. Um, but but I didn't beat myself up for it. Like, I kind of just went, oh, Fritz, oh, damn it, you did it again. but not allow myself to beat myself up, because beating up a dead horse just does nothing for us, right? Allowing yourself to feel that emotion, allowing yourself to look at yourself in the mirror, take responsibility for those sabotage patterns, and choosing differently, choosing to focus on, okay, so what worked well this week? Was it really as bad as I thought it was going to be, or as I thought it was? And truth is, this week was actually very good. Okay, considering I was in not the best place emotionally and mentally. There were a lot of things in my life that were actually very good. I had a lot of potential client conversations this week, more than the week before. And so looking at that and going, oh yeah, like it's still working, like duh, I'm just being sucked in by an old programming, right? And being able to see that, when you can train yourself to see that, it really helps you to um keep getting back in the saddle, keep going back, and climbing that horse again. Because sometimes we think that the horse left us, right? But truth is, the horse is going to be there ready for you to jump up when you choose to decide to do it, right? And so, this is just a reminder for you, and this is not just for you, this is also for me, right? Because there are times when all of us does this, regardless of how much personal development you've done, how much money you've made, how much you've grown as a person. There is still this negativity bias, and when you allow yourself to feel all emotions and accept them without judgment, and not criticizing yourself when you're experiencing these distressing emotions, and still allowing yourself, even at the worst of times, to really see the wins, to see what has worked. You are now going to retrain yourself to look for more of the red cars that you want to see. And once you can train yourself to see the red cars that you want to see, you're more likely to get back up on that horse, because it's not really about falling off, right? The thing isn't to the fact that we fell off the horse, it's the fact that we got ourselves up many times, and by choosing to get back up the horse many times is truly what creates the self-trust and what creates success in our lives, and it is what creates growth. So I hope this helps. I hope you have a fantastic week ahead. Otherwise, I will see you soon.